Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 221 at scavengerlife.com.
Hi, how are you everyone? Welcome to Trash Shelf Radio.
Oh my god.
That's...
You sound like how I feel, which
Yep.
is like...
So Ryan, what time is it right now?
Where?
Right here.
Here?
Yeah.
10:30 in the morning.
When did we wake up this morning?
I woke up at about 3 a.m.
I woke up right after you.
Yeah.
So we have been up for almost an entire working day.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yep.
The cool thing is, since I have to pack so much, I get up before the break of dawn.
Right.
And I'm like packing, drinking coffee, eating a little breakfast, I'm like, but by now, 10 a.m., I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh,
these are the hard life of international travelers.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I do like it. I do understand why farmers wake up at whatever 4 o'clock in the morning, because you get a lot done.
You get a lot done.
I mean, it's not even noon and we've gotten so much done.
Yeah, it really is. It's nice. But by the afternoon, you're kind of wanting to eat dinner and go to bed.
Yep. And so we apologize to everyone. We did not put up another post this past week. We just did the one on Monday. And then I had every intention to post something else during the week. And it's just, we were so busy at work, and Ryan had food poisoning for part of the day.
Oh, God.
But you kept
I kept working.
It was good.
Yeah. But, it got really... I think we underestimate how crazy these jobs are every time. We're like, oh, yeah, it's no big... No. It's massive amount of work all day long.
That's why, it's I don't know. Yeah, we don't ever really learn, because they are ultimately, it's positive to do this other work we do, these one-off kind of jobs, but it always reminds me how when people complain about a listing on eBay, and when we complain about it, it's there is so much calm when you just have to list for your own business,
It's like a level of zen that's just... You forget about it, and when we were done with the job and we were flying home, it's a long travel day, I was like, I cannot wait to get home.
Right.
And just pack stuff.
And just so it's clear, so we do a video
production.
Yeah, so that's the job we do. And I can see that there is, the reason why we keep doing it is there is something interesting about being pushed into a job where you have all its responsibilities and there's all this pressure on you and you have to perform. There is something exciting about that, which is different from eBay, where there's really it's pressure on us, except
from ourselves.
The bank is going to take the house if you don't make its money, but it's different when you're working in a group of people and people are expecting things from you.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting balance, and I am grateful that we have both of those things in our lives, that we can pick and choose.
I mean, I like doing the video work still, because I like problem solving, and I like still being connected to that world and still understanding that technology. To me, that's interesting. And I get a buzz off that, when we're there and we're working and whatever. But it's just so different than our life at home. I mean, I've talked about this before. It's this different level of stress. It's stress that makes you ill. That kind of stress where you get sick at the end of the show when you're
after
just
you work for other people.
I remember last year this job was in Amsterdam, and we both got completely sick afterwards because we were exhausted, and I'm sure we caught something from someone, but it's that level of stress, but when you're at home and there's stress with the rental and all that stuff, it's just a different level,
Yeah. Because, I do read the stress in people's voices when they're trying to build their eBay store, and because there's a lot of information to process, and there's no right way to do anything. It's
without a safety net. You're just I'm just selling junk on the internet. I get that.
But I also Anna in California had said once that she sometimes misses having a regular job, because she misses having an adult environment to be in.
Interaction with, social interaction and professional interaction.
I can see that.
Yeah, I see that too.
It is interesting being around other working adults and other professionals.
Like when we were on this job, we were trying to troubleshoot certain technical problems, like new challenges that we have with this job with other people. And, it is, for tech nerds, it's fun to sit around and like try to figure out problems with other tech nerds. I
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like even they were saying, oh, I miss this sometimes when I'm not doing this job, that's normal. That's normal. I mean, a lot of people talk about when they retire, they kind of freak out because they're like, that was my social life. That was my creative and, mental.
But I mean, that being said, that's why I enjoy our blog and I enjoy the people that take the time to be on there and comment.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing that too. Like, I feel whatever people's comfortability with computers is, that's what we're all doing. We're solving problems just like we do in these other jobs.
Yep.
Like, why is this thing happening? How do we fix it?
Right.
What
worked for what person?
Yeah. And we all do these little experiments. We share our numbers. Like that's exciting to me. And I mean, that's one reason why we do this and why we have a blog is because that's what we look for. We enjoy that in our working life and then in eBay.
Right, and that's why we started the blog originally.
Right.
Because we were like, us and Mikey and Wendy, we were like, there's got to be other people out here who have this life, and they did.
I just want to, it's mentioned this, because I don't want to talk about this because we would sound like spoiled little brats, but I do want to talk about traveling.
Yes.
When we traveled home, it was a very long flight, and then we actually flew through Canada before we hit America. We had to go through customs. American customs is very stressful,
Yeah, the layover in Canada was insanity.
Right. But the point I want to make is, it just reminds me too that I'm so glad that we're taking the time to travel while we're still relatively young, because I would see in line, there's like hundreds of people in these little cattle lines, coming off of these 8-10 hour flights, might have another flight after that, and I see people in their 60s and older, and they just look dead, because it's like very stressful. I really hope anyone out there that wants to travel and is doing eBay and that do it now while you're still energetic and can get through all that.
I mean, the level of stress that we experience going through customs while you have a 2-hour layover and, stuff is taking forever and ever and you have to go through security again. There were these two grandmas behind us who were saying, "Oh, I'm going to go visit my grandkids in the United States."
They were so sweet.
They were missing their flight right then. They were like, "My flight is boarding now," and we're like, "Oh my god!" Like,
I felt so bad for them.
So then they were saying, "Oh, we might have to stay over. I don't know what I'm going to do." I'm like, I can barely handle what we're doing now.
Yep.
It's like.
Yeah. And it also reminds me, I'm really glad we travel light because it's so it's so much different when we're just each carrying like a little small backpack versus
running through the airport trying to get our flight.
Yeah, then like with like huge, big, multiple cases.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so we come home, and how many items do we need to ship?
I believe that when we came home in our main store, there were like 95, and then in our second store it was like 50.
Really? Wow.
Was it like 40 or 50, something like that? So like 150
So
items.
That's in 4 weeks. So really it's about kind of like what we did last year.
Yeah, and it was really slow at first. I was like, we're never going to meet that number.
Right.
It was deadly slow.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about that because we had a good week.
Yeah.
So my question is, so you come home and you're focused and you're the one that packs.
Yeah.
Do you need my help?
Well, so here, I know you keep asking me that, and I keep thinking about the people who pack, and some people who are a couple, both people pack their own items or whatever, and I just feel like it's such a particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to think of something you do that I'm like, can I help you? You're like, I don't even know how a second person would help me with that. Like I don't even know how to explain it.
Like cooking beans.
Like me. No, I mean, there are like singular tasks where you're like, there's nothing someone else could do here.
But I do think it's interesting. That's been kind of the history of our eBay life, is where, we talked about it. It was started about something that you did, and then I kind of, tried to help you. And slowly I've been working my way into its process, whether it be taking photos or listing or, I'm just wondering if, maybe I need to actually sit there and watch you pack, and I could come up with a way that I can help you. Whether
you could see how I do it. What helps me is you helping me find everything.
Right.
That's a huge help.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's some things like clothes and stuff that are super easy to pack.
Right.
It's not hard to do that.
But I guess that it's what I see. It's a process where there's the packing part, and then there's it's printing out the
labels.
A label,
yeah.
And that's
kind
of two things.
And I've changed my system. I used to do this, especially when there was a lot of things. I would pack like 10 things, and I would label each one on the outside. Okay, this is going to Arizona. It's 2 pounds. Whatever. But for me, I got too paranoid about not sending things to the right place. I do it one by one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I packed this jacket. I know exactly what it is. Yep. I go and I print the label.
Yep.
For every single item, because I know 100%, almost 100%, 99.9% that's going to the right place.
I mean, I hate to say this because it scares me, but it feels like one way I could help you is by just learning how to pack like really big items,
Yeah. That's a very particular art as well.
I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know the answer. We were thinking about this. We know somebody else who does an eBay store, and one person is packing, and they're packing a lot of delicate items, and I'm thinking they just started their eBay store really to ramp it up, and I'm like, they must be going crazy because it's a lot of work for one person to do it.
Like all these like plates and
very delicate. They ship very. Once you get good at it, it's a no-brainer. You're like boom, 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 boom. Right. But if you do that all the time, I don't know. I don't know the correct answer.
Okay.
If there is one.
Okay, well, let's do the numbers, which we always like to do each week, just to kind of like, for it's new people, they can just see what it actually sounds like if you're a full-time person who sells on eBay. This is the kind of money that we make, and it
grounds
everyone.
You in reality. That's because
right.
You think, we didn't make any money. Well, yes, actually you did. So
this week in our flagship store, we made about $1,700.
Yay!
So we sold 37 items. I mean, it really was a good week.
Yeah.
And then in our second store, kind of our experimental store, we sold 8 items for almost $400.
Yay!
So really, we made almost $2,100. I mean, and that's gross sales, minus eBay fees, PayPal fees, inventory costs.
Right.
So it's grossing almost $300 a day.
Which is our goal.
Yeah.
We always have the goal of $300 a day.
And I would say it's been, except for that 1 week where we sold that like $2,000 briefcase.
Yeah.
It's probably been 6 weeks since we had a week like this.
Yeah,
it's been a pretty, but it's because we've been traveling a lot with delayed shipping and,
Well, my question is, so this week I was able to turn the shipping handling time to 3 days was the minimum.
Instead of 30 days.
Jeez, it was like, okay, in 3 days you're going to get stuff shipped.
Did people...
Did it change anything?
Does eBay see that and push you up in the listings? Do people say, oh, now it's only 3 days, I'll take it?
Yeah, like what's the decider?
I don't know. For me, I just feel we're just getting closer and closer to like the holiday season, and people are starting to be willing, they're back in school now, and people are just willing to start spending, and we'll talk about some of the things we sold. Yeah. But basically, our average price sold was about $45 on both stores.
On both stores, yes, that's
which is really nice.
Great number.
Yep. Yeah. So these are weeks that we enjoy, and I look forward to this. It's growing, and I think about it. There are some people on the blog that post their numbers, and they've been doing a couple people have been selling like almost $4,000 in a single week.
Yes.
That's almost $600 a day. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, when people post their numbers and they're like, we made $4K this week, I'm just like, I don't know how to comprehend the amount of shipping you had to do.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, it's really impressive. I think we've only made that kind of money in a week maybe once or twice.
Have we ever made that? That's like a Christmas week, you know?
Yeah, I feel like we've done it once or twice when it was a Christmas week and we sold some really high dollar items, especially when we're doing coats like that.
Well, I was just about to say something that I am remembering and noticing also around this time is we do really well with clothes and shoes and coats and sweaters. And we have cut back on that the past few years so much.
Right.
And I kind of am like, why did we cut back on that? We make so much money on those things because they take forever to photograph, they take forever to measure. We're like,
honestly, because we got bored.
We got bored.
That's really it. And that's the way I see it. It's like it might be the best thing to sell, or it could be, but if we get bored of it and it burns us out, what's the point? You know, like you've got to. I feel like I'd rather make a little less its money as we have been, but still really enjoy and be excited about the stuff
items.
we buy.
Like you guys will see this week, I making my what sold video. It's like the epic 5-week what sold. I'm trying to video everything, but it really is hard to video everything when I'm like, I gotta get this stuff out the door. Right. Like I woke up at 3 a.m. yesterday and I was like, oh, it's Saturday. The lady's coming. I'm going to pack as much stuff as I possibly can.
I think it's more about, I enjoy those videos when you're just showing stuff that interests you.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, obviously,
like a random shirt. I'm like, I mean, I'll show some clothing items. I'm like, oh, it's cool. This sold. A Mickey Mouse sweatshirt.
Yeah.
But so there will be interesting things, I think.
And since it's now been about 6 months since we opened up our rental, our
feels
vacation
like longer.
rental, I mean. I do have to remember that having that second income has really taken the weight off of us to make all of our money on eBay.
Yeah.
I mean, we still pay all of our bills with our eBay money, but it really is nice to have that second.
Well, and also when we were in Europe and we were like, wow, we went a day and a half without selling a single item, which is so rare for us. We're like, someone's renting this whole week, so it felt like a little bit less freak out time.
Was it worth spending 3 years doing that other farmhouse? Is renovating
I'm still questioning. No. Yes.
Yeah. It feels good on this end.
Yeah. When you're done with a project like that, you have instant amnesia.
Right.
You're like, oh yeah, that didn't take forever and all my money.
Okay, so things we sold is this week. We just like to kind of talk about little highlights because I think it's important to talk about this stuff because it's fun. We have to talk about what's exciting.
Okay, so
we sold some adult diapers for $10.
Oh my God!
Sold
you know what?
iPod cases for $1.
Seriously, okay. People are gonna get so mad at you who sell on FBA. So listen. We did sell something on Amazon. We sold that tarp. We sold a tarp on Amazon. Jay, I think I sold the tarp for $11. They give you $6 to ship it. It cost me $10 to ship it. So think about, because
it costs $10 to ship.
Yeah, because the tarp is a 10 by 12 tarp.
Right.
It's going to California. Yeah. It weighs 2.5 pounds. Yep. I'm like, no money was made.
I'm just not good at Amazon. I went to that hardware auction that we talked about, and I bought all these multiples of just brand new products, these tarps.
We're trying it,
I'm just not good. I don't understand that world. What I do understand is buying in an old 1960s a little toy for kids. It was called Creepy Crawlies, where it was these aluminum molds that you would squeeze plastic into it and melt plastic and make
little creepy crawlies. Now anyone who was alive during that time knows what we're talking about. They're made by Mattel.
Right.
When we bought it at the thrift store, the woman at the counter was freaking out. This was the biggest thing when I was a kid. Oh my god!
And we sold it for $274.
And we got a lot of low offers for months on that thing.
And it had best offer on it, and someone just bought it outright.
Our store is on sale, so it was $300, but our store was 10% off. So,
yeah. But it's interesting. It's like one of those toys that they could never make now. It's like I can't imagine like little kids in their room they're like melting plastic.
Was it melting plastic or was it like some? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because
it's like
that's a heating element. Oh. And there's a and
the mold. Yeah,
and they have these bottles of.
So,
So anyway, that's
stuff.
Sale. Again, it's stuff I live for. It's just like so kooky. We bought it for $5, and we also sold a crepe griddle. Yeah.
So a little while ago, how many months ago? 6 months ago, we bought a panini grill and a crepe grill for $35 each. So it was like $70. I sold the panini grill like in a day. How much did I sell it for?
For like $400.
For like $400, right? The thing was massive. It was huge to ship. It was crazy.
Right.
Great sale. Totally happy with that sale. The crepe griddle took a lot longer.
Right.
Not as popular item.
But it sold for $180.
Sold for $180. Yep. But the thing's massive. I got to pack it. But
But that was like one of those random sales we went to where they had equipment out of a...
and no one knew what
restaurant.
No one knew what it was. And actually, the crepe grill it's a cast iron top,
right?
And it was rusted to hell. And I cleaned it.
Yeah.
I used this stuff
surface rust, right?
Yeah, it was surface rust. Yes, but I used navel jelly. This stuff called navel jelly, which dissolves rust, and it came out really well.
Yep.
So,
I mean, this isn't a big sale, but we were just joking about it. We sold some salt and pepper shakers for $22.
You guys will see this in the video, and I laughed in the video because I was like, they're cool looking. They're oak. They're solid oak, and they're cool. Yep. And of course, knowing me, I'm like, $25. I'm putting $25 on these, and someone bought them. I mean, our store's on sale, so it was $22. But I mean, go on.
But it's just we bought. I mean, stuff like that, we probably paid a quarter or 50 cents
nothing
for it.
But when you see a style, I mean, I saw them and I was like, this is a cool, modern, I can see this on someone's table. Right. And apparently they could too.
When we first started doing this eBay store, I just never imagined that would be possible.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, if you go to Crate and Barrel and if you try and buy like fake mid-century style stuff.
Exactly.
It sounds expensive.
Yeah.
So someone's like $22, why not?
Yeah, I agree. So this other piece was a silverware chest. Like, it's those chests that are lined in that kind of tarnish-free velvet stuff. It's not velvet, it's like flannel. Usually they sell for a lot more money, but if you don't have the pattern of like what goes in there or something.
And it was a little bit in a rough shape, but it's sold for $50.
Yeah.
And I only bring that up because, again, I love wood. It's boxes of all sorts, just because I love to store stuff,
Yeah.
And those things will sell.
They sell.
I mean, some people, like as Ryan said, buy it specifically because they're trying to put some silverware in it.
Yeah.
But I think some other people buy those things just to store other things. Because often they're kind of ornate and they look nice. And like, where else do you buy nice wood boxes? Like...
Yeah, it's true.
It's
I think that's why we sell so many of them.
Right.
Weird, like just random. You're like, this is a wood box. Right. It's open on top.
Right.
People buy those.
Sure, just to put like earrings and
or just
trinkets.
Organize your desk a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think those are cool too. So a big sale that we had in our second store was a set of 8 placemats by Dansk, and they were made of linen and cotton, and they had a designer's name on them, and they were made in Finland. So I was like, I'm putting a high price on these. They look like they were never used. I had 125, and our store's on sale, so they sold for 112.
Yep. And this is the stuff we live for.
Yes.
When you go to an estate sale, and it's something that's priced at like $3 or $4.
You grab it.
Because they're kind of nice, so people know that, but they don't understand that.
They're like, they're placemats,
that
whatever.
People want these things because they look awesome.
Yeah, and it was actually sold to a designer in Los Angeles, so
really?
that person knew what they were. Yeah,
and you know, we talk about this stuff. I love to go on the blog after we post a podcast and people post stuff that they've sold, and I'm always amazed. It seems like in the past 12 months, either people are being more open about it's what they sell, or people are getting better at it. People are really posting amazing things that they sell and the prices they get.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not. I realize it's not like something special we do. It's just this stuff is out there. And if you put prices on them, you know, if you know what you have and do the research, any one of us can get these amazing prices.
Yep.
And as they should, because this stuff is like valuable.
I mean, just ask the price. That's where it starts. You got to ask the price, and if you're confident, like the creepy crawlies, I'd seen several of them sell for $300 and up, depending on, you know, some if they're brand new, never used, they're $300 and up, but ours was used. I was like, no, I got $100 offers, $75 offers. I was like, nope, I'm waiting for the person who's going to pay $2 something, you know, and we did.
Yep. Another thing we sold was because we love to sell hats.
Yes.
And we always talk about trucker hats, but we like to sell other kind of hats too. And one big style is military hats.
Yes.
And the reason why those are interesting is guys in the military, they seem to really care about their clothes, obviously.
Yeah,
you know,
the
and
uniforms.
And they will keep them in really great shape until they die, and then a lot of their stuff gets donated. And so we found like a vintage... A
naval officer's hat.
Well, actually, because it's a military stuff, we always get schooled by the military people out there. It was not an officer's hat. It was just...
an academy, naval academy. You know what's really weird about this? It sold for $70, just I'll say that first.
Sure.
Someone messaged us and was like, this is not an officer's hat. And then 5 minutes later, someone else bought it.
I mean... And that's why we have no idea, but my only thinking is someone linked to that hat or those kinds of hats on a forum somewhere, and, you know.
Because at first I wanted to be like, oh, thanks, I'll change it. And then as soon as the cha-ching happened, I wanted to be like, guess it didn't matter. Yeah. But I didn't say anything.
But, you know, it's nice. It's cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we'll talk about, again, these aren't big sales, but it's interesting. We always sell these, and that is when you have a coffee maker, and they will have the glass.
I guess you call it a carafe, right?
Or
a carafe.
A glass pot.
A pot, yeah, the coffee pot.
Those things break, and people look for them.
To match the one.
We find them, you know, not all the time, but we find them fairly often. If they have a brand like Bun or...
what's the other one? Braun. Like the fancier ones. Like, I'm not just going to get a Mr... Yeah, I mean, every thrift store in America has a million Mr. Coffee, you know, pots. But
these are items, you know, we're always willing to hold on to things for like 6 months, 12 months. But these are things that always sell really quickly. Yeah. So we sold 2... it's within a month of putting them up, you know.
Yeah.
And they sell for about $25 each.
The bun sold for $12.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Why did the other one sell? It's for more.
The bun was used.
Oh, okay.
And the brawn is new in the box.
Gotcha. And
the bun, there's like a million of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the brawn too, but yeah. So anyway,
cool, dude. Customer issues. You know, we haven't really had many because we've been away and we haven't been shipping anything, so everyone's happy. But one thing, you know, and this is so typical, we sold an electronic lock on eBay, but it was for parts because it was broken, and the guy bought it, and then he wrote us back like, oh, I didn't see, it's for parts, so we gave him his money back. But this is so typical. Like, I love selling stuff like that, but it's really tough to sell electronic stuff that doesn't work, no matter, even if you put it like 4 parts in, like,
I mean, it's on the title, it's in the thing, it's everywhere. I think really people just look at the picture and they're like, "Oh, that's the one I need. Wow, it's only $20.
It should be
amazing.
It should be $100. I'll get it."
Even I've done that, and then I'm like, "Oh, duh, yeah, of course this is broken." Yeah. You're like, "That iPhone's only $50. Oh yeah, it doesn't turn on." Like, duh.
But it's interesting, you know. That was the first thing that ever sold on eBay was a broken
laser pointer.
A laser pointer,
yeah.
And people are like, people buy anything. They actually did a video and interviewed this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, they were really expensive at the time.
Right.
So I was building my own, and I bought the old one so I could get the
lens,
lens out of it. Yeah. So it was great. And that's why that's why people buy old broken stuff, because there are people willing to fix it.
Like maybe someone's like, oh, I need the turn mechanism, and I don't want to buy $100 new one, you know?
Or I know how to test these things and fix them.
So that is, I mean, I will say, Jay, you kind of were like, Ryan, why are you selling this, and why are you selling it for so much? I need to lower the price. I agree, but I need to just be like $20. You know why I'm mad at myself? This is why. I bought this electronic lock for the farmhouse, and I didn't install it for a year, and the guy sold me one that was broken.
Right.
And I was mad at myself, so I'm like, why didn't I try to install it the freaking day I got it and then return it?
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I'm trying to sell it for parts. So, but I think it will sell to someone for parts.
You
eventually.
all just witnessed the reality we live with together. Is like, That's exactly the issues that happen in this house.
It's like
that was
you're like this. This is what happens. You're not mad at me. You're mad at yourself. Oh, that's the worst. Yeah. I know there are other people who have spouses that say that stuff and they hate them for it. You're mad at yourself. Don't take it out on me. Oy.
Boundaries. We need boundaries in our relationship.
Okay, so what we did this past week, I guess you guys already know. We were working.
Yeah, right. We were it's working, and, it's funny in Barcelona. I mean, people will laugh at us. We were in Spain, in
beautiful Barcelona, right?
We're working at the convention center that's right by the beach. Like,
it's you just on have the
to,
beach.
Where you have to walk over a little hill, and there's a beach, and we did not go to it.
I will say there was a construction thing in the way, so you couldn't really walk that easily. We were so busy.
Yeah.
It was like, call time is before the sun comes up, and then you leave and you're like, I'm a
It's
zombie.
like waking up at 5, grabbing a quick it's breakfast and working till 7 or 8 o'clock, and we'd be in bed by 10 o'clock,
By 10, there was one night I was asleep by 8:30. Yeah. I was like, I can't function.
But that's why we went early and enjoyed the 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The other thing was interesting was, I don't know, this is just totally random stuff, is that when we're working like that, I eat like such shit,
Okay.
Like,
okay, but here's the thing, right?
Like, because it's when I'm stressed, it's like that, or when I'm just tired, it's like I just want to eat, and so I'm just consuming all these calories.
I will say this, though. You're part of the job. I sit in front of a computer for forever.
Right.
You run around the conference rooms.
Interacting with people and stuff.
You are walking all day. So you are burning. So I'm sure that your body's like, I need fuel. Yeah. For me, I'm like, I had like a little pastry. That's it.
It really didn't feel that way. I definitely felt like I was eating really badly and just like, going to like a restaurant after work and just eating
a
like
hamburger,
3,000 calories. Like,
yeah, but that was only one night.
Yeah,
that was only one night.
It just reminds me again why I love the life we've chosen to lead, where we work mainly at home and we're cooking most of our meals. Like, I just feel a lot healthier. Yeah. I do remember when I had a job, I just God, it was hard to eat well because of just I don't have as much control over my time. Right. So you're just like grabbing sustenance as you can, and very often, I'm just eating, like comfort food. Yeah. So like calm my stress.
You're like
eating like 4 donuts and like.
You're just like, I want a grilled cheese with French fries. That's all I want.
Grilled cheese. I want like a bacon cheeseburger.
Which is what you had. Yeah. You had.
And it wasn't even that good. So anyway, that's just the life of people.
Yeah.
So we're just going to make a quick note of this. That rental property we have. We started a new podcast over
shampooandbooze.com, and we just interviewed our friend Becca, who lives in New Orleans, and she's had really cool experiences. So you should go listen to her.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of reminds me of like when starting a new podcast, how it's basically like crickets, you know. But
compared to Scavenger Life, yeah.
Yeah, but even with Scavenger Life, it was like that too. I mean, like
it took
even
months.
Like it was even like for a year, there'd be like 2 people commenting. But you know, we're doing it kind of for ourselves, and you know, it'd be interesting. Even if you don't have a rental, it might be interesting just to hear how another business person handles it. Because our friend who has an Airbnb in it's New Orleans, it actually became basically her full-time job.
Yep, it's her full-time job.
And she loves it, and it's just interesting hearing her talk about how it was kind of like, well, we'd done that in Scavenger Lights once. We did like how we formed an accidental business.
Yeah, we accidentally had.
Because that's what eBay was for us. Like, we didn't plan for this to like be a full-time job. I never thought that we could make that kind of money. It just kind of happened, and that's what she talks about. She was like, oh, I've got this extra room above my house. I'll rent it. And suddenly it's like, she's always booked.
What did she say? She said it went gangbusters. But it's true. She was like, oh, I don't know, maybe every few weekends. And she's like, I was booked solid.
It's just, I mean, and that's mainly because of where she lives. She lives like
in
whatever,
New Orleans,
10 blocks from Bourbon Street. So like, she can't, you know, like...
She has to turn people away.
Right.
I mean, she turns people away. So go check it out, shampooandbooze.com. Yep. It's fun.
So some news... I will put a link to this kind of stuff we're about to talk about. So people send us little links or they put it on the blog, and we talk about the things that we think are interesting. Timothy, or Tim, he sent us a link where this guy, so he digs for bottles.
Right.
Old bottles.
Like old whiskey bottles.
Yeah. There's actually another scavenger out there who actually stayed in our rental we talked to, and he does that too.
Digs for old bottles, yeah.
You know, because I guess back in the old days, you know, people had like a toilet in their backyard with just a hole in the ground.
The privy.
And so, of course, people would probably like take their bottles out there and just throw them.
Just throw trash down there.
Throw them in the crap hole.
It was the trash.
Right.
The crap hole. Yeah, that is true.
That's what it was.
I mean, everything was biodegradable.
And so nowadays, people try and find where those things are and dig them up, and they're finding bottles, and people pay a lot of money for it. Anyway, but this guy, so he's in the Southwest, and they were digging in old silver mines. Yeah. And finding like bottles. But what they started finding were like jeans.
They would find like little pieces of denim because it's so dry there.
Right.
It's basically buried in sand.
Right.
So it's not going to biodegrade.
And then he found a couple like actual whole
pieces.
Like jeans or like coats. And these are the original Levi's
denim, like
from like the late 1800s.
Denim when denim was invented.
And he would like, you know, sell them to like a Japanese guy for like $1,000 or $5,000, and then he realized that you can sell these things for $100,000
or more
if they're in the right, you know, quality.
Right.
And he actually found one, like him and his father. Found like an almost perfect, like the first year a Levi's made these things.
To me, that's like priceless. That's like a priceless artifact.
I don't know. I kind of forgot this, but I guess one reason why people pay for a lot is that Levi's, the company, will buy them because they're trying for their archive. Right. You know?
Basically for their own museum, you know, or whatever.
I love stories like that, just where, I mean, that is really true scavenger. You know?
It's treasure. It's true treasure hunting. I mean, the fact that you can sell Levi's from the 1950s, you know, the Levi's with the big E, you know, in the red seam on the inside. Yeah. I've never found any, but I look.
Really?
I've never found any. Or do I look for them?
Yeah.
When I go through jeans in our local thrift stores, I just keep an eye on the E in Levi's, because if you find one, it's worth a lot of money. But think about finding them from the 1800s. Like, to me, I'm just like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. When I read that article, I was just like, this is so awesome. I love this story. This is so good. So go read it.
I enjoy that. And then things we kind of learned in the comments.
Yes.
So it was a good week for comments because we only had one post up. The comments got really, you know, there were too many comments almost, because with Blogger, if you get over like 150 or something
like that,
it puts it on a second page. So I know people were thinking their comments were disappearing. There's like a little button at the bottom that says load more.
It's
so
hard to see.
That's one reason why we do multiple posts in the week, so it doesn't happen. So anyways, Super Dave posted, so he sold a $2,300 printer. It was like a CD printer.
It was something like that, yeah.
You know, and he had talked about this a couple weeks ago where, like, the guy came and picked it up because it was a local pickup.
Drove from New Jersey to Massachusetts.
Took it home, said it worked, but said he looked into the computer thing, and said that it wasn't new, that it had it's printed stuff in the past. So even though it worked, it wasn't actually new. And the guy was like, I want a bunch of cash back. Like, give me a partial refund. And, you know, Super Dave came on the blog and was like, what do I do? And people were giving him good info. And I think we all kind of agreed, you know, you just have to take it step by step.
One step at a time.
So he called eBay.
Yeah.
And got them in on the process early.
Right.
He said to the buyer, give me more info.
Right.
Like, if you're saying this happened, prove it, you know.
Show me the information. Show me the counter.
Yeah. Like,
whatever you said.
Like, you know, just back up what you say and be prepared to make a refund or do a refund, but not to get into a back and forth and emotion. And Super Dave did that, and the guy didn't do anything, and the case closed.
Which is,
you know,
the ideal outcome. Right. That either this guy was bluffing and just was like, oh, I want some money back. I paid too much, or whatever his problem was.
He might have. Who knows, you know?
You know, but, or he got lazy. I don't know.
Or just, you know, the guy's like, it works. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know, like, I don't want to, like, take screenshots. Anyway, I just want to, you know, so I just want to remind people, like, you know, don't go from 0 to, like, you're
freaking
dead.
Out. Yeah.
Immediately.
Jay's looking at me while he says this. He's like, Ryan, you're 10 steps ahead. You're freaking out. None of that's happened yet.
Yeah. So follow the rules. Give the buyer options, and then wait for the buyer to take action. You know, that's why we call it the silent method. TM.
Trademarked. Yeah, right.
If we were those people, we would have, like, that would be totally, like, we would trademark that, and we'd have, like,
trademark trash elf.
The
trademarked.
And, like, you know, I'd put on a pair of sunglasses. Like, be cool.
Dude, you think I have jet lag? I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. Let's stick to the outline here.
And then Mark H2O, because there's multiple Marks. I don't know why he's Mark Water.
Maybe his last name is Water.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, Mark H2O. You know, he was educating us, and it is true that there are going to be no more hassle-free return program. You know.
So it's just like the regular return program.
I'm going to link to the fall update that he had, you know, told us all to go to, and it explains it. Basically, it works like hassle-free returns in a way. You just get to choose what way you want to allow returns to happen. It's kind of cool. You can have different return policies for different categories.
Oh, that's interesting. Like clothes can be different.
Clothes can be different from glass or from whatever.
Wow.
Cat
okay, I got it. What did you say?
Cat products.
Cat products. Like, we have so many cat products.
But,
cat scratchers. We have those. Oh, that's cool. I haven't looked at that yet because I haven't had.
But you can still do the 20%. You know,
the restocking fee.
It doesn't look like
we have a 50% restocking.
We have 100% restocking fee.
Like, you can return it, but I'm not going to pay you any money. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's some, like, payday loans.
Yeah, you're like, buy this, return it. Right. You don't get your money back.
Yeah, and there were actually quite a few more really cool conversations going on the blog. I mean, I was in the conference hall where we were working, and is running around doing all this work. And, during my little breaks, when I could take a break, I would just sit there and read comments. And it was cool. I was like, oh, these are my people. Like, I'm not stuck in this, like, these are the people I should be with.
I know. That's how it felt. It was like anytime I had a free moment, there were times where I would see in my Gmail thread that there were like 65 unread comments. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get on this.
And it's great that people email like that can exist without, us having to participate, because
everyone's talking to each other.
People are smart,
Yeah.
Okay, our coming week, packing. You already packed, what, maybe half of everything? Or
I think I packed like 40-something things.
Oh, that's it. So there's still like 100 things you got to pack.
Is that true? I think my numbers are off. I don't know how much I packed. I shipped a lot yesterday. I think I shipped like 35 items.
I know. It's when I came over, I brought bags of stuff. I mean, I brought like 4 or 5 bags of
IKEA
packages.
bags. Yeah.
IKEA packages.
So
we're packing, and then, I don't know if we had mentioned this, but we are actually going to San Francisco on Sunday.
For another job.
For a week, because we had agreed to do another job. And these are all things we had planned, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It all sounded really good 6 months ago. We're going to make all this money. People like us. They want our services.
It doesn't sound bad now. It's just when you're in it, you're like, this is crunch time.
I mean, it's New York, August 15th for 2 weeks.
Yep.
We came home for 1 week. We were in Europe for a month. We're home for 1 week, and then we leave for another week. I mean, so really, we only home for 2 weeks out of 9 weeks. I mean, it's it
feels disorienting,
Yeah.
It feels disorienting, but when we're done with San Francisco, we're done for many, many months.
Yeah.
But
it was interesting when we were in Spain. We actually signed up. Someone there saw what we did,
and we knew them from before.
They actually run another event in Washington State, and they asked us to do a job in
April. It's in April, yeah.
So it sounds really good. But
oh my God! But I think it's hard to say no when you're like, we know this technology, we do a really good job, and I like the clients.
Yep. But
it's hard to say no.
Again, I'm not trying to complain about it. It's just interesting. I want to remind people who are thinking about getting into eBay, like, this is totally a doable thing, and we're still doing it. Where, you might have to quit the job that you have, but you can always see if you can maybe become a consultant or a freelancer, where you can pick and choose when you go back and do that kind of job.
Right.
Like if you're a nurse, maybe you do fill-in days, or if you're a graphic designer, you just take certain projects. I mean, that's a totally doable thing. Like Hollywood Paul. I know he'll
Hollywood Paul. You know who you are. He
quit his job at the record store that he had for a really long time. And he was happy about that. But I think he was getting a little bit stressed about just depending on eBay. And so,
cutting off so soon.
So what he did was he said that he got a job with a local eBayer that I guess has been more established.
Right.
And he works for that guy 2 days a week.
Right.
Or 3 days a week. Gets paid, not a salary, but, an hourly wage.
Yeah.
He's probably learning a lot from this guy. And then he has his own eBay store. So, I definitely encourage people who are just trying to start out, just to try and balance it.
Yeah. Like our friend, actually, just to mention the other podcast again, our friend Becca in New Orleans, she still does nursing work, but she does it on kind of like a freelance basis. Whenever she needs to fill in for someone, she'll do that, and so it's kind of cool. She still has those skills. She still has that certification, but she can hop on and off.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to answer questions that people either called in or emailed us.
Yes, you can call us on our voicemail line at 540-407-8486, and you have 3 minutes to leave a question or a comment.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Scott from Georgia. Just a quick question. Y'all promote international listings or international sales quite frequently. When you're selling internationally, do you depend on eBay to tell you if what you're selling overseas is legal for them to purchase or be shipped out of the country, or do you do your own research? Thanks for the service shop about, guys.
Okay, so that's an interesting question.
It's a good question.
Yes.
And yes, we had mentioned on the last podcast that PayPal actually gave us some info where they said 30% of our sales at last month were overseas sales.
Yeah.
So that's not
small amount.
Yeah. So we saw a lot overseas. Yeah, you know what? We probably should be researching, like, is Germany going to take, like, this certain kind of item? But we don't. And I think it's only once or twice has anything ever been
Well, and also, like,
rejected.
with global shipping, they usually kick it out of global shipping. But I don't know if that's the same with, like, USPS. Will they, like, not show up? Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I think that here's the deal. It's for us. We don't really ever sell anything that I think would ever be a problem. I think if we were selling things like lizard boots or like bat wings or like any kind of weird animal products, exotic kind of items, or
eBay might not let you ship those to certain countries or something like that.
I mean, I think what he's asking is good. Is that eBay might be like, I don't care,
right?
But the country, when it gets when it gets to that country, they may reject it.
It happened once with global shipping where a leather jacket to Germany got rejected. I forget what kind of leather. I think it was just cow's leather, but the thing was eBay refunded the customer and let me keep my money.
That doesn't make sense.
I forget what it was. It was some kind of leather thing. I don't know. Shoot.
All right, so I think we looked into our archives, and I think that might have been the only question that someone had called in. Again, it was a little crazy week for us, so if we dropped the ball on something, I didn't see any emails either of people asking us specific questions. But, if we missed anything, please call back. But, I guess people have all their answers.
Yeah,
all their
that's
questions
good. Everyone knows the
themselves.
answers to everything.
Good.
I'm so glad.
Everyone's great. You guys are great. Okay, so that's it for this week on Scavenger Life. You can check out all the links that we've talked about, or if you want to join the conversation over at scavengerlife.com. We also started a new project called Download All, where you can actually, if you want, download every single podcast we've ever made in order with the right naming structure, so you could then put it in your iTunes and it's all in order instead of going through
and doing it one by one.
Yeah. But it's your choice, because one is a paid thing, and then you can just go on YouTube and it continues to be free, or on our website. You can call or leave a question or comment about something that you heard.
And again, the phone number is 540-407-8486.
We post an episode every Sunday night, Monday morning. This might be Monday morning since I'm about to fall asleep.
Packing and sleeping.
Wednesdays, we're going to post a what's sold video. We like to show you the things that we sell and how much we've sold them for. And this will be an epic. How long do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be
28 minutes.
30 to 40 minutes. 40 is stretching it.
If someone actually watches a 40-minute what's sold video, we'll
maybe it's not going to be that long. I have no idea.
We'll give you a free
I'm pretty
salt
fast.
and pepper shaker.
Salt and pepper. Yes, for $20.
You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube. Okay, well, thanks for joining us this week, and we hope that the holiday season is like right around the corner. We hope that your sales are going good.
I hope you guys have been listing lots of things for people to buy.
Yep. This podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.
0. Bye.